Now, how about we install Windows 11 in your PC without losing anything? The only thing that will change is the version of Windows, because that's what we are going to upgrade. Let's get to our computer and see how we do that. First thing first, download Windows ISO. You can do that from the official website, or you can buy a DVD with Windows 11 in it. So in both cases it will apply. When it comes to downloading the ISO, I already have mine in my computer. Maybe you have yours in another folder. Mine is here. You can check a video I did a while back. A card will pop up somewhere here or somewhere here on how we can be able to download an ISO image from the official website. That out of the way. This is the ISO file that you are going to work with. This is Windows 11. It's a 64-bit and mine is an English version. What we are going to do here is we double click to open the file so that we mount a virtual DVD. So this is where most of the people usually make a mistake. If you want to open it, I can double click on the ISO image and it will open the way I want, because that's what I've set that to be. In other cases, you will find that once you double click, it opens using other applications like WinRAR, which opens archived folders. To avoid all of that, right click on your file, then click on Open With, go to Windows Explorer. Exactly that. As you can see, we have a new kid in the block. Not funny. We have a virtual DVD which was created, and this contains Windows, the files we need and everything we need to install. Now let's go back to our ISO, the one we opened. So we just click on Setup. If you don't have TPM 2.0 in your system, don't worry, we are going to create another video on how you can install using a USB drive, and you can be able to skip that requirement and install Windows in your system and use it without any problem. So let's proceed with this. Now we open our setup, and then now I'll click on yes, and then it will open Windows preparing. You can check here if you want to make installation better. In this case, I don't want to. I want it to be as hectic as possible. So this is a very important step, because this is where you are checking the updates, and it's a very sensitive step in such that if, for example, you are installing an ISO which has a version of Windows that is behind the one that you are currently using, then you're not going to get an option where you're going to change what to keep and what to delete from the system. For you to clear that, make sure you are connected to the internet, and it's going to download the current files, and then you can now proceed installing Windows from that point. So that's what my system is doing, because I'm using Windows and I'm trying to install a version of Windows 11 which is a little bit behind what I'm using currently. It has downloaded most of the files. Now we can proceed. You click on accept, and it will continue downloading other files, which might take a while. I actually find this method kind of slow. You are 100% sure that you're not going to lose anything when you're installing your Windows. So you just let the setup do everything. You just watch, and the point you are going to meet will be where now Windows will ask us, what do you want to keep? So let's wait. I'll speed up the video so that we don't have to wait for long. So let's meet there. So it's done now downloading the files. It's trying to arrange them such that to be able to access them during the installation phase. We continue being patient, but I'll speed it up. Now we are ready to install. Now, like you can see, we have the option to install Windows 11 and keep personal files and apps. If you don't want to keep any of those, or if you want to make a selection of what to keep, then you click on change what to keep. But once you click on that option, and then you click on next after choosing what you want, the setup will take you back to now checking new updates. So kinda something I don't really like because it will waste much of your time, but it's a necessary step, I presume. So you have personal files. You can keep everything. That's the first option. Second option, you get to only keep the personal files only. So the last option, which is nothing, you get to delete everything and be left only with Windows and the files that come with Windows. In this case, I want to keep everything. I don't want to lose anything. Click on next, then getting updates. Back to where we were. We are now almost to where we were choosing what to keep. Making sure your PC has enough space. Of course, I have that. We are back here. So instead of now going to change what to keep, we already know what we decided to keep. So we click on install. We get this blue screen here with percentage, and your PC will start several times. This might take a while, of course, which is true, depending on the speed of your machine. Sometimes, especially when you're using hard drive, might take a little bit longer, but when you're using an SSD like me, it might take a little bit shorter. But we have people who have extremely fast machines. We get to sit down and wait until we are done installing the whole of this. So what's happening in the background right now is it's extracting all the files that are kept in that ISO image, putting them in a position where once the computer restarts, it will be able to access those files and start now installing. And you can actually continue using your Windows at this point. The only thing that you need to do is hold on Windows D, then you minimize everything. You can continue using Windows up to a point where now it will be done extracting and putting the files in order. And then once it restarts, you can't use Windows again. You'll just have to sit down and wait until it's done installing everything. So in that case, I'll use my camera to record the screen. Yeah, which might take not a really long time. I'll try to speed everything up so that you don't have to wait for long. And we are going to meet at the desktop, and from there we'll say goodbye. And then we are going to make another video of clean installing Windows with TPM and without TPM. Then we are going to install Kali Linux, clean installation using a USB drive. We can actually even have a live boot of Kali Linux. Then another interesting thing, you can install Kali Linux and Windows in the same hard drive. We are going to actually do that, so that once you press power on your machine, the boot up screen will give you an option to go to Windows root or the Kali Linux root. That might be a little bit interesting. So let's wait until we are done installing, and hopefully it will be faster. So we are now restarting. So after the long process, we are done installing our Windows, and our desktop is as we exactly left it. So the first thing I usually like doing is checking on the size on my disk. Right now we have 40.2 GB left in our local C, which means that the installation took part of our free space. And if we go here, you can see we have Windows Old, which is now the Windows which was currently in. Now I really don't need it here because I'm not planning to go back. But for you, if you want to test and just stay safe in case maybe the Windows you are using crashes, you can roll back. Or if you don't like the version of Windows 11, then you can go back to the version you are using. So just make sure you don't delete this Windows Old. because it contains the files from the previous Windows installation. As for me, I don't need it, so I'll just look for clean up, yes. Then I click on OK. Clean up system files, yes. And it will take some seconds because it's scanning everything in the background, and from there we can be able now to delete all unnecessary files. Yeah, so this is it. It will scan everything, scanning previous Windows installation, and now we're done scanning. We have everything. So I like checking everything here, but this is me. You might require maybe some of the files which I don't require in my case, but my target is this thing here, previous Windows installation. So you check on that, and this on this temporary files I click on OK. So I'll free a space amounting to 15.4 GB. Click on delete. Yes, I want to delete everything permanently. So this is the best way of removing that Windows old from your PC, because if you go ahead and do that by deleting the actual folder, some of the files will not be deleted. It will give you a lot of headache, because Windows will recognize some of the files, and it will feel like you are deleting the system files, and it will not allow you to do that. And that's how we install Windows without losing anything. You can actually even decide to lose everything if you want, but this is one of the safest methods that you are going to install Windows and lose nothing. Now, even if you are from Windows 10 or 7, you are not going to lose anything apart from maybe the files from your Windows operating system, nothing else. Next, I'm going to do a clean installation of Windows using a USB drive, so watch out for that. And I would recommend you to go and watch a video I did a while back on how you mount Windows into a flash drive, because that's what we are going to do when we are clean installing Windows.